Hey guys, Earth here. I just wanted to make a video about my impressions of Persona 3 so far following my defeat of the first full moon operation. That's the High Priestess on the monorail. For anyone who has made it that far in the game, just so we're on the same page about what exactly I've experienced so far. So I'm going to be taking a look at some notes here on my phone. They're in no particular order, but I'm going to go ahead and start with the graphics. I think the graphics are extremely good. They've been mixing the Persona 3 and Persona 5 graphics. So the UI and all of the theming is Persona 3 and FES based, and the 3D models are the same style as Persona 5. So I think the Persona 3 theme works very well. It's more of a flat theme as opposed to Persona 5's kind of pop art style. But the Persona 3 style is just as good in a different kind of way. There's some things I really like that they've changed from the original Persona 3. So for instance, when you go into the Dark Hour, there's a new animation that they use, and it's pretty sick. Next we're going to talk about some of the things that they've changed mechanically in the game. Obviously, Persona 5 introduced Baton Pass, which a lot of people think makes the game easier, but obviously they've added also the Merciless mode, so if you want more difficulty in the game, you can just turn up the settings. Persona 3 Reload has introduced Shift, which isn't exactly the same as Baton Pass, but it works the same way, where if you get a one more, instead of just using it on the character you've gotten the one more on, you can go ahead and shift to one of the other members in your party and attack with them instead. This is really good for setting up all-out attacks, and I'm a huge fan of it. It's pretty similar to some things that Shin Megami Tensei does, but a little different, so I think it's more true to the spirit of Shin Megami Tensei than how Persona 3 originally implemented it. I also like that we have free command, so instead of just having the tactics system, the game defaults to allowing you to go ahead and control your party members directly. Persona 5 had the command system in, as well as Persona 4. So if you wanted to use tactics, you could, but it also defaulted to free command, which I think is a smart move. A lot more people are going to be familiar with that as opposed to the tactics system. So good call. Going to move on, talk about the voice actors. I think that each of the voice actors was a phenomenal pick. A lot of them sound very similar to the original voice actors, except for Akihiko, but I think that it's excusable for Akihiko. He's still a good voice actor even though he sounds a little different. It may take some getting used to if you're more familiar with the original Persona 3 and FES, but that's okay. Once you get used to it, it's solid. They've also brought back the original voice actors for some bit parts throughout the game. You may want to look up who those are. I haven't exactly taken the time to see who each voice actor voices, but it is still cool that they've gone ahead and have them return. The intro to the game is still super slow. That's kind of to be expected. They were very faithful with this remake, so if you thought that Persona 3 was slow in the first half to begin with, you're not going to have any different expectations here. It's still slow. It'll pick up later in the game. Just know that going in. I think the music is a very big appeal for Persona for a lot of people, and while most of the songs are very similar, there are some new additions in Persona 3 Reload that are really good. I also think they've made changes to some of the songs that are pretty good. Lotus Juice actually sings in some of the songs now instead of just rapping, and he's a pretty good singer as well as a rapper. They've also brought back the original Persona 3 singer, and she's really good. Her English has gotten a lot better since she recorded the original Persona 3 songs, so they've had her re-record, and it sounds really good. I like most of the additions we've had so far, and I think there's only one song that people are really upset about, which is the original mass destruction, which is the battle theme. Some people have been trying to get only first strikes so they don't have to listen to the changes, which is a little disappointing, but if you are pretty quick on your feet, then you don't have to listen to it, so that's one option. Next, I want to talk about Tartarus. There have been some changes that I think make Tartarus more bearable. Some people have a love-hate relationship with Tartarus. I personally think that both Tartarus and Mementos and Persona 5 can be very grindy and samey. I think they've made some good changes here that make Tartarus a more bearable experience. So if you are running through Tartarus, there are chests that you can get, as well as smashable loot that make the game more engaging. So if you want, you can get the smashable loot and sell it for money outside of Tartarus, which is a good way to increase your income, and that leads to being able to summon more personas or get gear from the police station. This is one complaint I've seen from journalists, is that there are very limited ways to get money throughout the game. It's basically just this loot and defeating shadows and then getting the shuffle time money. So make sure you're getting in there and smashing the loot so that you can get some of those sellable items. Speaking of items that you can get from the smashable loot, there are Twilight Shards, which can be used for either opening special chests or healing yourself at the clock, kind of how you could in Persona 3 Portable, but it's different now. Instead of using money at the clock, you use these Twilight Shards. I think that the cost is pretty steep. It's 7 Twilight Shards to heal yourself. At least I think that's the number last time I checked. And they're a limited resource. You find them around the overworld when you're outside of Tartarus as well, but it's a little hard to know when you're going to find them. And you can also get them from Elizabeth when you enter the Velvet Room, but the amount that she gives you seems to be determined by how many levels you got or how many personas you've added to the compendium. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I'm sure there are guides that explain it, but I'm trying to go into this as blind as possible. So at the moment I have more than enough to use the clock, but I'm kind of holding on to them and seeing exactly how that plays out. I also think that there are good changes in the overworld, so I like the way that the map has been redone. It looks really good, and I like that now, just like Persona 5, your social links have cards in the map when you want to go and use the map, or in the overworld, if you're running around, you can see your social links cards above their head, so it's easy to distinguish them from the crowd. That's all I really have written here. I think that Persona 3 Reload is a good and faithful remake so far. I'm excited to keep playing and see how it goes, and I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys think so far. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!